Welcome to the SBR NHL Double Play, the Play of the Day video. It's Thursday, January 9th. I'm Ian Cameron with Adam Booth as we're ready to break down our top plays in NHL action. Ready to get to it? Let's get to it. Let's start with Adam. He's got the Buffalo Sabres St. Louis Blues matchup lined up for his top play on this Thursday, courtesy of SBRodds.com. Again, make sure you're using SBRodds.com each day to get the best line and price with all of your wagers. It's an invaluable, incredible resource for the sports bettor. St. Louis minus 205 to minus 210 home favorites, total 5.5, shaded to the over at about minus 115 in this one. The St. Louis Blues are a team that went through an incredible win streak just a week or two ago, 8 or 9 in a row, had it snapped. And then that predictable little lull or downturn, when you have a long win streak, and it gets snapped, I always like to look for that team to lose a few in a row, and that's exactly what happened with St. Louis. They had the streak snapped by Arizona on the road, followed it up losing again to Colorado, followed it up losing again to the Vegas Golden Knights, but returned home the other night and took care of business against the team that a lot of teams get well against, and that's the San Jose Sharks, as St. Louis came back home and snapped that losing streak with the win against San Jose. Buffalo Sabres had really been scuffling and struggling and really finding it difficult to put wins on the board, but they've put a couple on the board in a row now as they enter this game against the St. Louis Blues. That being said, going to be a tall order anytime you're playing the Blues, the leader in points in the West, the defending Stanley Cup champions, who did put an end to that losing streak the other night. And we know the Sabres, not exactly a team that's had this pristine record of stepping up in class effectively. We'll see if they're able to do that here tonight. Adam doesn't believe they can. Adam, you like the Blues, and you're willing to lay the puck line to do so.
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to sort of preface this by saying Buffalo can. You know that, Ian. You know that I do love a good dog.
Of course, any team can win any night in any sport. Absolutely.
But I am banking on the probability being less than what the puck line suggests, at least. On the money line, I only had marginal value on the Blues side. And really, this is one that the Blues are a top 5 team. I in my preview article before the season started, which is still on SBRSportsPicks.com, you can check it there. I took the Blues as my Central Division winner. And right now right now they're in a good position to do so off of that, streak through, late December. But they've also had a couple streaks similar to that. And even in early November, they had a nice one put together. Their last loss, other than these 3 most recently, was against the Sabres back in early December. And I was on the Sabres money line team total, and I think I might have been on their alternate puck line as well. That was a big cash day for me on Buffalo that day. Buffalo in these last, handful of games, they got a couple wins, but they are not convincing, I guess you'd say, even in their wins and losses. Had them against Tampa, had them against Florida. They had 3-goal leads in both. They come out with a win, barely against the Panthers. They lose. They're up 4-1 halfway through the game against Tampa, and they lose 6-4. They don't even cover their +1.5 puck line. So Buffalo is a team capable of dropping leads, even if they get out to a good start. You got to say the same about the Blues, though, when we compare apples to apples. The Blues are uncharacteristically, I mentioned this in the Play of the Day article today, uncharacteristically giving up leads, letting teams back in. They've done so more this season, halfway through, than they did the entire 2018-2019 campaign. So this is something I'm sure Berube has touched on, and I'm sure that the guys are aware of. Giving up those third-period leads, 2-goal leads. They almost let the Sharks steal one or steal it into overtime the other night. I don't know if you saw that, Ian. They let in a shorty with a few minutes left in the game. You have a power play. You're up 2 goals. You allow a shorty. Then the other team pulls their goalie. This is a recipe for disaster. We saw them lose a game like this to the Islanders early this season. They had a 3-0 lead against the Vegas Golden Knights only a few days ago. This is not the type of game sort of barn burner games that the Blues want to be a part of. They want to feel comfortable in their own zone when they're defending, and then their very good puck moving defensemen get it out, which was their strength last year. But So I'm not making an argument for the Sabres here. I still love the puck line play on the Blues. It's a revenge spot, from a month ago. But this is a situation where if the Blues play like they're capable and the Sabres play like they're capable, I still like the puck line, and limiting the Sabres to 2 goals or less. That's the type of game I want this to be, which is why I haven't played it on the total. I think the total is 6. Is that right? So again, it's not about, puck lines are always, not, they can be dangerous to get involved in hockey, but this is a great number. I think I had it at 53% for the St. Louis Blues to cover. Whether Allen's playing well again this year. It's not like if he gets the start, I'm, concerned about it. I've got to, reconsider. So yeah, that's about it for me. And again, the Sabres, like, Eichel is just doing so much for them. And again, if he has one of those games where, he's sort of dipsy doodling all over the St. Louis defenseman, or, is Parayko out, or is he back? I didn't see.
Let me just double check on that, because you're right. I had heard questionable with him right now. Latest update, Colton Parayko, because he was a day-to-day injury. He was battling that upper body injury. Let's see. They're going to see how he feels after the morning skate today. And of course, morning skate's still a ways away. So we're not sure on that. He's questionable right now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so what I'm looking for is like a 4-1, 3-0, 4-2 type of game where the Blues, they might not dominate, they might not crush the scoreboard, they might not get out to an early lead, but they will grind out the wins the way they have. And I'm hoping we don't need an empty netter to cover here. I hope, we have a 2-goal lead heading into the third. So that's how I see it. But Ian, your play today, it was interesting. I want to spend more time talking about that one, because I don't get the price on the Habs that much, and I have this circled. I was potentially going to cover the Oilers as one of my article plays, the dog play. So I want to hear about your thoughts. I'm definitely looking Oilers or pass for this one, but I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So just to confirm, St. Louis minus 1.5 plus 125 for Adam with his play. Mine is just very simple right now. This is one of those keep it simple, stupid type of bets for me, because we know Montreal has completely hit the skids and just been absolutely dreadful. This was close, though, between this game being the play for me today and Arizona Tampa Bay over 6. That was really a strong consideration for me as well. In that one. So it was razor thin, splitting hairs, deciding which of the two. And I said, you know what? I like the price. Montreal shouldn't be minus 130 against anybody right now. They essentially proved it the other night. We were minus 150 on the road at lowly Detroit, and they end up losing to the Red Wings. But anyway, before we get to that, let's back up. Let's give you the line here. My game, obviously, Edmonton, Montreal minus 130 to minus 135 favorites. Even some minus 140 still out there on the Habs. Total 6 across the board. The Canadiens don't look right. Okay, they're not playing well in any facet of their game right now.
Yeah.
Offensively, it's been tough for them to score goals consistently. The bigger issue is defensively. You can't keep track, because there's been so many of them. You can't keep track of the number of odd man rushes, breakaways, prime grade A scoring chances that the Montreal Canadiens have essentially been gifting opponents with their play in recent, with bad puck management, bad puck decisions, turnovers galore, just miscommunication, passes going to someone that, I think my line mate's going to be there. No, he's not. It's on the stick of the opposing player and going the other way and in the back of your net. That's the kind of stuff that's been happening with Montreal lately.
Ian, I just have to interject there, because especially on the turnovers leading to odd man rushes, during the month, the horrendous losing streak that they were on earlier this season, that was a key factor for me in playing against them or passing, even when maybe there was value on the Habs, because it's like it was so consistent. Games in which they are really controlling the play, but the amount of turnovers leading to opportunistic golden chances for the other team were costing them games, and we've seen it come back into their game right away. So I completely agree. And you've got a McDavid and Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins on the other team who will punish the crap out of the Habs if they do that tonight. This is the ideal type of team for the Oilers to get against is where, the Oilers aren't, on the power play constantly, which they have a good power play. But I want you to talk about it, but I just wanted to say that is such a key for me in not wanting to play the Habs. I absolutely agree with you there.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've bashed on Edmonton. Edmonton's got flaws, and even after a couple of wins in a row on this road trip against Boston and Toronto, I still think they have flaws. You know, their defensive depth's a question mark. Where's the scoring outside of Draisaitl, McDavid, and Nugent Hopkins consistently? Where else do they get goals? Sometimes they get nothing from anybody else but those guys. Mike Smith, he could go right in the tank any minute. And he's been on a nice little run lately, but we know that could turn in a hurry because when he struggles, he's really bad. And then when he's good, he can steal a game or two. And Mike Smith's right now in his zone where he's playing a little bit better. He's going to be the goalie in net again tonight for the Oilers. It makes sense that Dave Tippett's riding him because they're winning right now with Mike Smith in net. But this is more a play against Montreal. Their play's been brutal. They are banged up and injury riddled beyond belief. And the guy they miss more than anybody, Drouin, yes, Byron, yes, Armia, yes, Armia, very underrated forward. But Brendan Gallagher is the heart and soul of the team. A guy that's going to make a big play, take a pounding in front of the net to try to score goals because he scores a lot of his goals from right inside the blue paint or right near it. And he's just one of those guys that lifts the spirit, lifts the emotion and energy of the team. They need something big to happen. There's a chance Gallagher with, a good shift in the offensive zone or a big goal or just getting the momentum of the game turned even with a hit because he's a very physical player for a guy that's small in stature like he is. That's missing from Montreal. The emotion, the energy. When things go south, there's a chance Brendan Gallagher's the guy that's going to make a play to turn the tide in the other direction. You don't have that now when he's injured and not available and not on the ice. So it's just another negative for this Montreal Canadiens team. They've lost, a bunch of games in a row now. They're on a brutal losing streak. I think the bottom fell out the other night. That's rock bottom or close to it. When, you can't even get a win against the Detroit Red Wings, who it doesn't seem like Detroit had won in 5 years before they beat the Montreal Canadiens the other night. It's just a team
and Montreal had a lead. Don't forget. They were winning going into the third. It was 3-2 or something. But
I mean, seriously, when's the last time Detroit had won before the Montreal game? It had been a long, long, long while. This team just can't be favored. I really believe that right now. And mine not even favored. Like I could see even if it was pick'em or minus 110, they're out there minus 140 here in this game. And Edmonton has played a solid road trip. Again, this is not a perfect Edmonton team, and again, any team can beat anybody on any given night. But Edmonton's had a nice road trip. There's not a lot of confidence, and when you can, and if you're coughing up the puck again tonight, Montreal, like you have throughout this losing streak. Say what you will about the depth of the forwards for Edmonton and that the fact they don't get enough sometimes from the second and specifically the third and fourth line, and that's absolutely the case. But if they're going to give the puck away to the McDavids and the Draisaitl's of the world on this Edmonton team, like they have in recent games, Montreal be bad puck managing the puck, it's going to be in the back of their net against guys with that supreme level of skill, talent, and ability. All right, and that's big concern I think that Claude Julien's got with his team coming into this game. So it's just a team that's faltering right now in every way, every aspect, and even Carey Price. It's unfair to lay most of the blame at his feet, but he's going to need to make a big save or two. That Winnipeg game the other night, that was a 2-1 game. They come down the ice with that short-handed goal. It was a dribbler. It was a squeaker right through the 5-hole. I'd like a save personally in that spot. On that shot, on that goal. I think it's a savable shot, and it wasn't by Carey Price. So, I think it's fair. It's the people that are saying it's mostly his fault are ridiculous. They don't know. But he does have to be better too. He does have to be better too for the Montreal.
He's not playing like he's capable, but he is far from the problem. If he just, if Montreal just tightens up these odd man rushes and turnovers in the neutral zone and in their own zone or on the blue line, Carey Price will all of a sudden move from, not being under fire at all to he's having an okay season. Trust me on that. But I agree. It does look at times like, he's not playing Vezina worthy, I guess you could say, and stealing games like he has for Montreal in the past. But that's an exposure to Montreal, being sort of uncovered, not anyway. I was going to say, guy in the chat just said, can we address Knights Blues moneyline parlay? Now, I'm not sure if this guy asked about the parlay last time. parlaying in the NHL is very, very dangerous. The favorites only win 60% of the time. Well, average, that's a general percentage, but you really want to stay away from that and look to play better value on individual games. As far as those two specifically, I'm on the Blues, and I do have, I don't have value on the Vegas Knights tonight. I have them at 65%, and the line is at like 71, 72. So even against a bet, but I think the spot is good to go, against an LA team that is bottom 5 in scoring, goals against. And I think, Vegas should win that game, close to 70%.
Vegas at home off a loss against the loss to Pittsburgh. Yeah. No question.
So it's a good spot. It's a good spot. I would say as far as 2 games on the board, St. Louis, if you were gonna parlay them, St. Louis and the Knights would probably be the 2. I would say those are the 2. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the parlay in this case, and if you want to bet it, go ahead. But the general thought process that Adam mentioned, and that's, you don't want to be betting parlays a ton, and you certainly don't want to be in the NHL, and you certainly don't want to be betting them more than your straight bets. Okay, you still want to focus in on those individual games. I do agree with this particular parlay, but I wouldn't go crazy just peppering the board night after night with 2-team parlays, 3-team parlays, 4-team parlays, especially if you're going to throw nothing but favorites on them. Throw a dog on them. If you're going to do parlays consistently in the NHL, throw a dog or 2 on some of your parlays every now and then, because they do win. And nobody knows that more than me, because I always make a case for underdogs, just like the case I made a moment ago for the Edmonton Oilers plus 120 as my play of the day. What a segue that was. One of my
absolutely,
best,
man.
Ever there. Absolutely. So that's going to wrap up the show. So to recap, Adam's got St. Louis -1.5 plus 125, and my play Edmonton plus 120 against Montreal. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Appreciate the interaction in the chat. We will be back Saturday, 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time with the next edition of the SBR NHL Double Play of the Day video. For Adam Booth, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday. Good luck on the ice tonight, and we'll see you again on Saturday.